getting somewhere. Bill Wegman is a young artist who lives here in Manhattan. A few years ago, he turned his talents to videotape, and he has found that, among other things, his dog, Man Ray, makes an excellent subject. They're both here tonight. First of all, please welcome Bill Wegman. We saw your dog, Man Ray, at the very beginning of our show. You're a video artist. What other sorts of things do you do? What is a video artist, first, I guess?
A lot of artists, or at least myself, in the late 60s were, painting was dead, or so we thought. So alternate media were coming up. Like a lot of people were doing performances or electronic art. Yeah. And I was teaching conceptual art at the University of Wisconsin. And they had a video machine there that they used to document lectures and so forth. And I just muscled it up into my studio and started...
Stole it, eh?
Stole it, yeah. And I'd look at the back of my head for the first time and say, wow, that's really strange. And I did rather narcissistic works for a while until I moved to California, and I got a dog for my wife who was pestering me about it. So.
And how did the dog get into the videotaping?
I was doing floor pieces, things like that, and he was just a total pest, an impossible dog. And I'd be taping something on the floor, and there he was. But he looked great. He looked a lot better than the bits of cheese or nails or whatever it was I was conceptually placing in the corner. Yeah. And he was gray, and that seemed to suit black and white video very well.
What is the name Man Ray? What should we know about that?
Man Ray is this fantastic artist that was born in around the turn of the century, and along with Marcel Duchamp and a few other people, invented what's known as Dada art and later Surrealism. And I don't know, he...
Is he still alive?
No, he died in '76. Yeah, I got a lot of phone calls of remorse, and I said, no, it wasn't the dog, it was the artist.
People greatly relieved, were they?
It felt weird to hear that. You know,
do you have exhibits around the country, all over the world, or you just
internationally?
Internationally. So your dog is a global celebrity.
He is international art star. He's in the Museum of Modern Art.
No kidding.
Some photographs.
What are we going to see first of the videotapes?
This was. Can I introduce it?
Please do.
I was driving up to Syracuse. First of all, Man Ray is a California dog. Yes. California dog, Long Beach, and so he was brought up around the beach, and that's his favorite area. And I was looking for Walnut Street in Syracuse, and I was driving around. You know that one too? And so we came to Cherry Street and then Beach Street, and I said, Cherry, Beach, and suddenly my dog went bonkers. This was like miles from the beach. So, and it was spelled B-E-E-C-H. So when I got back to New York, I'd moved to New York, I set up a piece that involved the incorrect spelling of beach.
Okay, the dog and the incorrect spelling of beach. Man Ray. Take a look at that now.
You've got P-A-R-K was spelled correctly. And that was good. But wait a minute. And you spelled O-U-T right. But when it came to beach, you spelled it B-E-E-C-H, which is like there's a gum called beech nut gum. But the correct spelling is, we meant beach like the sand. So it should have been like the ocean. B-E-A-C-H. See, that's the difference. But remember it next time. Okay.
Man Ray, spelling lesson. We're going to take a look at another. Well, here's Man Ray now, as a matter of fact.
Hello, fellas. How are you?
We had this elaborate introduction for the dog whereby he was going to follow this path of milk, and he's already out here. In fact, that's how we get most of our guests out here. We put a little milk down on the floor, and they find their way on out. While Man Ray is... Bill, do you want to introduce the next tape? We have one more bit of videotape with Man Ray and another dog, I think, while he's cleaning up here. Can Can we take a look at that?
Okay.
What is anything you need to tell us about that?
Well, Ray had been working in video for about 5 years when I did this tape, and there's a novice. It's her debut.
Uh-huh.
So
Oh, well, this would be exciting.
tape with 2 dogs.
Okay, so this is Man Ray, and what's the other dog's name?
I forgot.
Okay. A bit player. Are they the same kind of dog?
It's a German short hair.
This, of course, is Man Ray on the right. What exactly are we looking at? What are the dogs looking at, Bill?
That's revealed.
Oh, it is
We have
revealed?
to be
Okay.
patient.
Okay.
As they are. This is a curious part here because nothing's going on.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're bored at exactly the same moment. See the blink?
Okay. Meanwhile, Man Ray is here in the seat. It was Man Ray in person. Very nice job, Man Ray. And how old a dog is Man Ray?
He's 11.
Yeah, and how long have you been doing you said he's been in these tapes now for?
He's 11, and I've been doing them for 12 years, so my first year wasn't very successful.
Yeah. When the day comes when Man Ray moves on, as all dogs must do.
There he goes.
There you go. Do you have somebody you can replace him with, or are you just?
I have a tomb, and I think I'll be buried along with him.
So that'll be the end of the Man Ray tapes.
Right.
This is sort of interesting, isn't it? Very nice. Bill, thank you very much for being here with your dog, Man Ray. William Wegman, ladies and gentlemen, and Man Ray. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The dogs were looking at a tennis ball, as it was later revealed. For those of you who won't be able to sleep not knowing that, now you know it. So a couple of weeks from now, go to sleep. Not now, of course. Our next guest, Charles Panati, is the author of a fascinating book called Breakthroughs, which explores some astonishing advances in the areas of medicine, science, and technology. He's a former science editor at Newsweek. Please welcome Charles Panati. Charles, nice to see you again, sir. Breakthroughs, talking about all sorts of technological and medical advances and so on and so forth. Anything interesting that we ought to be appraised of at this time?
There's something that's happening right now, and it's called artificial blood. Sounds very ghoulish, but it's already been used on about 400 people. It's a clear liquid,
Yes.
and it's injected in cases where there's a shortage of real blood. It does everything that real blood does in terms of carrying oxygen around the body, but it has some wonderful advantages. First, there's no matching of blood types. It's a universal blood. Everybody can take it. Another advantage is it's extremely inexpensive to make. It's made from 2 chemicals, carbon and fluorine. The third advantage is that you don't have to freeze it. So it has wonderful military applications. It can be taken out into the field and kept at room temperature for weeks at a time. There's only one disadvantage to the thing. Because it is clear and not red like our normal blood, if you were to get a large transfusion of it, you would be sort of a ghostly white color for a few weeks. As a matter of fact, you'd be unable to blush.
On the other hand, it wouldn't stain carpets.
No, that's true, yeah. It would save your life. That's true, too, Bled.
Yeah.
I should say it eventually works its way out of your system, and your normal blood replaces it.
Now, I guess I don't know exactly why we would need artificial blood, and what if this ever fell into the wrong hands?
Okay, the first thing is the tremendous shortage of blood. and there's always a problem when someone is rushed into the hospital of matching blood types, or from a transfusion of real blood, you always run the risk of hepatitis or other infections. With this being synthetic and universal, there are none of those risks.
Is this that area that everybody's always questioning about tampering with the basics of life, the DNA and so on?
No,
and so forth?
this is quite simple and straightforward. As a matter of fact, it's just been approved about 2 months ago to be used in the United States. And we're going to see it used in instances of major accidents where people lose large quantities of blood and there's just not blood at the hospital on hand.
You need it right away. What else? What about...
There's some things on the horizon in terms of population control or birth control that really interest me. One is for women. I mean, they seem to always be the target of birth control devices. But I think the biggest thing we have ever had with birth control is a vaccine against pregnancy. It's being tested right now. And a woman would be vaccinated in the arm, and she would be immune to becoming pregnant for 1 entire year. Now, it is reversible. You like that? You like that? I bet those are men or women clapping. But for a year, she could not conceive. At the end of that time, the effect would wear off. They are also trying to develop it so it has variable immunization periods, where one woman might go and be immunized for a year, another woman for 3, and another one for 5.
But you would know. I mean, it wouldn't be like maybe 3, maybe 5.
No, you would have to be very careful at the end of the period when it starts to wear off. Another thing that...
What about, I was just going to ask you about, there was some talk about a birth control for men.
Yes.
Birth control pill.
As a matter of fact, they have it. There are 3 pills right now, and they are testing all of them on groups of men who volunteered for the test, and they all work in terms of, they don't kill the sperm, but they lower the man's sperm count such that he cannot fertilize an egg. There's so few sperm. But they all have the same drawback that they have not gotten around, and that is every man who has taken them has grown breasts. And it's a very undesirable side effect.
But in its own way, that would cut down on the birth rate, too.
Yes.
Breakthrough there.
There is another thing on the horizon for women. It harks way back to something that was used for 1,000 years, and that's the cervical cap. Actually, it was used by Casanova with his lovers. He used a lemon, half a lemon, would cut it in half, squeeze half the juice out of the lemon, and then give it to his mistress, and she would insert it over the cervix. Now, it served a double function. Not only did it physically prevent sperm from getting in, but the lemon juice acted as a spermicide, and it actually worked. There are modern versions, of course, of that are metal caps, but dentists now have started to produce them that are molded to the cervix. You would not go to a dentist to have this done, but although they may be pushing for that. But it's the dentist
like the old joke, let me know so I can adjust the chair. Remember that one?
Yeah. Takes on a whole new meaning,
Nothing anyone should be talking about, even at this time of night. So it looks like the population, world population will be, is it still out of control, or is it in check now?
No, it's still out of control. It's just in check in various parts of the world and among various groups. Another thing, last time we spoke, I mentioned one breakthrough, and I was just deluged with mail, and I think I'd like to bring it up. It's a dieting device. I think dieting things really interest everyone in the country. It's a chemical that if you were to swallow 1 tablespoon immediately after eating, it would coat your digestive tract and prevent the assimilation of a single calorie. Now, you couldn't take it after every meal, otherwise you would diet yourself to death. But it's being tested right now, and it works with amazing results.
But it sounds harmful. It sounds like you're just, in essence, swallowing Teflon, and you're just, nothing would stick. But I mean,
that's exactly, it is like Teflon. The only advantage is that the molecules are so large that they cannot get out of the digestive tract. They only paint the walls, and they're sloughed off after 4 to 6 hours. The danger comes from abuse. Now, when this is available, perhaps in a year, you're going to have to get it through your doctor. But I think there's such a tremendous market in this country for dieting devices that it will appear on the black market.
It's fascinating. Charles Panati, and things that I guess are with us now, not necessarily in the future. Thank you very much. We have to pause. We'll be right back, folks. We're just about done here this evening. I want to thank the studio audience. You folks were wonderful. I appreciate you being here. Also, my thanks to Bob and Ray. Charles Panati, Bill Wegman and his dog Man Ray, our announcer Bill Wendell, and of course Paul Schaefer and the band you met earlier. On Monday, Andy Rooney will be here, comedian Franklin Ajay, and the curator of the Potato Museum. I'm just guessing this is a misprint. Also, George Miller was to be with us with another report from his room. We'll have that report on Monday, so pencil that into your TV guide. Now, to close our show is our special Valentine's Day present to you, direct from Ramada Inns everywhere, the vocal stylings of Mr. Harve Man with a very special medley of your favorite situation comedy themes. Harve!
Hey, I tell you, I'd like to start off with a theme from one of my very favorite sitcoms. I'm sure it was one of yours. Meet Kathy, who's lived most everywhere, from Zanzibar to Berkeley Square. But Patty's only seen the sights a girl can see from Brooklyn Heights. What a lovely pair. But they're cousins, identical cousins, and you'll find cousins who are two of a kind. Kind of makes you want to think about being alone with that crazy pair on a deserted island. Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic port aboard this tiny ship. The ship's aground on the shore of this uncharted desert isle, with Gilligan and all the rest. Let's take a little trip down to the junction. Grab the little plane and it's going down the track to the junction. Junction. Forget about your cares, it's time to relax at the junction. Junction. And how about my favorite rock and roll band? Here we come. Walking down the street, we get the funniest looks from everyone we meet. Hey, hey, we're the funky. People think we're funky around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down. Snobs put them down, but they were great. Hey, I never miss the reruns of this great old show, if I can help it. Tell you why? 'Cause it's the story of a man named Brady who was busy with 3 young boys on his own.